it going?
Greetings. Tim?
Yeah.
Tim Morales?
Yeah, I think we met before.
Yeah, absolutely. Long time to see. Still up to our eyeballs in legal paperwork. Other cases now. We keep winning them, so this is good, you know. But basically, we're just we're back in town. We're trying some new approaches. We generally want to just have not just some litigation, legal stuff go down with the city and stuff. We just are personally wanting to help out our city at this point, and I want to get you guys a little riled up here.
Okay.
In a nutshell, we have a problem that I can't seem to fix myself anymore.
Uh-huh.
I tried telling the DA's offices. I tried telling the city police department this. I have gone to the city council, and they all are lawyering up or waiting for more information to make their decisions, or it's not their department or their expertise, so they don't want to have anything to do with it. Ultimately, this is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
There's a city police problem where they aren't using maps, and they're not respecting the due process of what you guys have worked so hard to build, what the county has to offer map-wise, things like that. And basically, they've overthrown you, and they've tried to use maps now that are not your maps, and they've convicted me of them in court.
They're not the what maps?
Basically, in a nutshell, they went to the Parks Department once to get a map. They're not supposed to do that, obviously, because they're supposed to go to their patrol maps in their vehicle and stuff like that. Well, they went to the Parks Department one time. The Parks Department really didn't even know that they're not supposed to be offering official maps. They didn't know that they were offering official map.
Uh-huh.
The communication wasn't really good between the officer and the ranger, and so the officer got a copy of a map from the Parks Department that he thought and was told and claimed was the official boundaries for Jefferson Park.
Uh-huh.
And we find out later, obviously, the Parks Department is not the official source for boundaries of anything, or at least not official. You know, and of course, official means leases, surveys, not just GIS department. But basically, I went to court and I lost a trial to a jury who literally believed what Giddings told them, which is the Parks Department offers maps. That's why we went to the Parks Department.
Okay.
And so he got this map, which was not a real boundary map. It was a service map. It was a maintenance map.
Okay.
So they've since retracted that themselves. But I'm still wrongfully convicted of this, and I'm still trying to get exonerated. Obviously, there was a lease that I found eventually for Jefferson Park. If you go look at the picture right now, or the place right there, the fence is up, so we know it's street, at least on the...
Oh yeah, I've noticed that. Looks like they're going to do some construction.
Yeah, so they sold the property now. So there's no question with 95% of the city that that sidewalk is public land. But I have a wrongful conviction on my record because I was standing in that sidewalk, and they used that fake map to convict me.
Okay.
So, heads up, I have a lot of appealing to do on my side. The concern I have here, though, is that these same type of police officers have done the same thing with a different area of town now, and that's an open case. And that's kind of where I'm actually having to otherwise prepare a case for trial. I can. It's very easy. I would have to subpoena some people, Rob, maybe you guys, whatever. But basically, I don't think it should have to get to that. And I also think personally that this area should be looked into closer anyways by all these other departments. This is the east side of Safeway. There's the rocks, the bench area.
Which Safeway?
Your downtown Remington, Mulberry.
Oh, that one over there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it has the seat wall there that's on the east side of Safeway.
It has a what?
A seat wall, or it was a seat wall, but it's been filled in with rocks now.
Okay.
And so there's like the street, there's the sidewalk, and then there's a bunch of rocks with this seat wall that people used to be able to hang out on. Well, that seat wall area is public land. It's within the 100-foot right-of-way. When you look at the GIS maps here, it's very consistent. When you look at the city plat, obviously the city plats themselves have 100 feet right-of-way for the city. The Robinson Pearsall project, you look at that up, it's no issues whatsoever. The police are trying to call that strip area private property because they found me in a fence one night behind it. That fence was illegally put up by the business owner because they were getting ready to do some projects, but they didn't put in any minor amendment in yet. But even then, you still have to put a fence permit in to put up a fence in the right of way. So there's no issue here. It's always been a public right of way. It's always been a public fence that went up illegally about this time last year. This fence, though, you guys send out a surveyor, the GIS department or the survey department sends out a survey. They determine that it's within the right of way. So there's no questions, zero questions.
The fence is in the right of way?
Yeah, the fence was definitely in the right of way. it had to be taken down within 10 days, or they would build them, take it down themselves.
Yeah.
So there's no question there, except that this area, they're calling for 60 South College private property because the cops themselves don't know about fence permit law. So when they saw a fence go up and they saw a guy behind it, they immediately said, oh, private property owner put up a fence on his property, getting ready for a project or something like that. And
Yeah.
they're calling that private property. And so I've explained this entire thing to them. They won't budge. They think that I can still be convicted somehow. I mentioned this entire thing to the DA's office. They still think that there's a chance I could be convicted. They don't want to admit that I caught them with the same type of situation I catch all the time elsewhere. Officers not using maps or just not reading their helmets and stuff like that. And so I'm obviously mad that people aren't being respecting evidence. I gave them a copy of this takedown notice. They didn't even read it. They didn't finish reading it. They just said, "Oh, sure, we'll put that into evidence."
Yeah.
But basically, I called them up. I called the police up later. I got as much eyes as I could on this, and they still think that there's a chance that I could be convicted in this area, as if it's private property, and there's none. And they weren't even supposed to get a warrant for this area. They weren't even supposed to be able to arrest me for this area.
Yeah.
They were supposed to. The correct way is fill out a warrant affidavit to the judge, or in this case, it was a warrantless affidavit. He fills out the next day for the judge after he arrests me. But he's supposed to. People in general, the way the due process works is you're supposed to mention to a judge the land, the 460, maybe use a map, things like that. And so when he mentioned to the judge that I was in this 460 area, he did not mention this email to the judge. So it's kind of attempting to influence. The judge doesn't really know. They should be able to look it up for themselves, but they don't know. So they believe that this is all private property now themselves. And the DA's office took it. It's a bogey. So the whole charge is sitting in the DA's office right now. I'm still going to trial over it. I'm just wanting to get as much other eyes on it. Mostly a couple of reasons. One, I think it's a spectacular event that you guys deserve a lot of popcorn. So I'm showing you, I'm giving you guys popcorn so you can sit back and watch. If you don't want to do anything at all, it's going to get railroaded in court. It's going to fall apart anyways. But really, I just really want to get you guys a little bit pissed that there are police departments out there that are not respecting your guys' data. I offered them your guys' maps, your city plat, and your email with the takedown notice, and they're saying, fuck you. So, it's weird. It's because we're catching them not knowing the laws. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to have a bad image. The city has a really big reputation for being a good, clean town, things like that. And so that's why they don't want to just drop the case, because it'll just look really bad.
Well, it seems kind of confusing if you're on one side of the... Does it matter what side of the fence you're on?
Nope.
If
The only okay, so
if you're on the other side of the fence, if you're on the inside of the private property, outside of the right-of-way, but it's still inside of the fence.
the fence was in the right of way itself,
Yeah.
and so there's two definitions of trespassing out there. There's trespassing on private property, and you're just on private property, and the business owner just doesn't give you permission, and you're just there, done. There doesn't even need to be a fence up or not. If you're just on the private property, you're on the private property. It's bad. There's this type of trespassing that they couldn't get right, which is a trespassing in the right of way. You would just have to write a ticket that says someone's not allowed to be behind this fence that has a permit. That's the only way, is that you're not permitted to be behind this area because this area has a permit. And so they were supposed to, when they saw that fence in the right of way that night, if they didn't know the status of that fence, they were supposed to go to the GIS or the survey department real quick.
Yeah, the survey department.
Say, or not survey, they would have gone to the zoning department, ask, hey, does this fence have a permit?
Yeah.
And they would say no, and then once they say no, oh, okay, you can't go stopping someone behind that fenced area. Here, they never talked to the survey department. So, they are not respecting you guys. They are trying to get away with it. And we already have an appeal for a different case, that Jefferson Park, where I gave them the copy of the lease and all the information and all my research from talking to the park department. And they pretended that I never said it because they got caught. So I have a wrongful conviction I'm trying to reverse, and I have another wrongful conviction that's coming up. I can handle all myself. I don't even mind being wrongfully convicted. It's already part of a larger complaint anyways that we're putting together of about 50 other cops. But personally, we are more and more tired every day that these cops keep doing things behind everybody's backs, behind your guys' backs, and they're not respecting your guys' maps, your surveys, your real estate department, your GIS, and I want you to be pissed.
Okay.
And the audios and the video is all out there, so we're getting our evidence. But basically, we told them, we said, hey, Parks Department said this is okay, or hey, real estate department, and they're just saying, screw you. So, you guys, I really respect you guys. Always give me straight answers. Parks Department gave me straight answers. They even said they took back that map, so that they never once said they were the official boundaries. And you guys have, we have plats online. You showed us the city docs, so it's Robinson Pearsall plat. We got it all figured out on our side. We're all hunky-dory. But no one wants to admit that cops in general aren't using these maps. And the reason why I really bring this up, ultimately, is because that area, that 460 area, we looked it up one day. It turns out that they have been ticketing people there for years, moving people illegally for their years. And they're still doing that. I tried to call dispatch and say this is public land, and they say, no, you need to have the real estate department tell us. And it's like, you're already mistaken on the info. You think they think one thing, but they're mistaken. And so, because they've been taking calls there for years. And so, I'm eventually trying to get the real estate department to just go tell dispatch, hey, this is public land. But I feel like I shouldn't have to, because every single cop should be doing his own job looking at maps and stuff. And so, these people aren't using elements. And then ultimately, what we're really scared of is that sign never came down, and so there's probably people still being moved along from that area, and security guards, we've heard, are still potentially moving people along, thinking that it's their property. And so, you guys know that it's public land. You guys got your surveyor out there. Thanks for sending a takedown notice. Appreciate that. But holy crap, bad cops don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I think you guys should be concerned that there are officers that are overthrowing you guys when someone challenges them.
Yeah.
And they're saying, no, Parks, and we have actually, in the trial itself, the one that I lost the appeal on, we actually have the record of the officer himself saying, yeah, the Parks Department is the official source of the parks boundaries in this city. And so, if you guys want to tell him that, that's what I'm trying to get help on. I tried to tell him that myself. He doesn't believe me because I'm just a punk kid, whatever. But I think that's really bad. I think you guys have a lot of good things going on here. You've worked very hard with your plats and your surveys and your GIS. And you fixed Jefferson Park for me one day before it got sold. You removed that parking lot and railroad track that was incorrect.
That one you told us about,
Yeah. So, thank you. You guys are very responsive. But I know it's not your department to go talk to police either. But I've already tried to talk to city council to get people above you to do that too, and they don't understand anything at all because that's not their department, or they're not lawyers. And then if I talk to the lawyers, which I talk to the city attorney, he doesn't want to touch it because basically he just wants to remain as plausible deniable as he can. And so you guys are you know more now than most other departments that I'm still going to court over this, and now I'm willing to hold the fate gun to my head. I'll go to trial. I'll even try and let you guys wrongfully convict me at this point, just for my own popcorn. I enjoy a good show. So, but seriously though, on a serious note, there are these people that I don't know. Okay, so we have all these other places too that we call sweep spots. Other places where we've used maps and they don't respect the maps. And so there's probably like 4 or 5 places in the city that people are potentially still getting ticketed there.
Oh, wow.
And so we're really trying to stop that. So heads up for you guys. 460. You kind of know what's going on now. If you happen to have any conversation, please bring it up.
Sure.
That the police happen to still be trying to convict me underneath that. So, if not, I don't care. Like I said, we can subpoena everybody in court. Chances are I'll put in a big motion to dismiss, anyways. But really, the whole thing what we're doing, it turned out to be our little job as liaisons of the homeless community. We're not really homeless people. My brother and I, we used to have good computer jobs and stuff. Just got sick, got assaulted out of residence. But ultimately, we're just trying to get everyone to understand that there are some type of homeless-related, poverty-related hate crimes that the police specifically are doing that nobody really knows about. and because no one knows their rights. Homeless people don't know their rights. But there's a lot of illegal tickets, and so we got a lot of illegal tickets.
Yeah.
We panhandling tickets, other jurisdictions, fake theft tickets, and then they use these sleeping tickets interchangeably, like park curfew and constructing a structure and camping, depending on where they find you and how easy it is to get you.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, none of them are being applied correctly at all, and they're literally just trying to get rid of this poor population enough that it doesn't look as bad, so that they don't have to address it with the shelters or images. But they want people to move here, tourism money, and so they don't want to expose any of this, that their cops don't know how to do anything, because no one would move here,
Yeah.
or at least people shouldn't move here unless they can trust the place, and so that is going to be an issue. So we're really, really sorry, but we're really just trying to get the left hand to start talking to the right hand. We have all the evidence. We just can't get it up to YouTube fast enough. We have every single thing, video and audio recorded. We have cops all the time catching him saying one thing and then right away saying another thing. And so we don't want to be that type of person. We just want reform, though, and we just want peace, love, happiness. You know what? I want you guys to go down to the police department and say, "What are you guys doing?" But it's not your job. But you could put a mention to your boss. Hey, there's 2 cases now, and then as your excuse to your boss, why are you telling me this? Be like, well, he came in. He said he's already talked to the Parks Department. He's already talked to the DA's office, and I've already talked to police, and they won't touch it. So they're bluffing, and that's why I came back to you guys, is because now you have more information than them. If you guys want to help me out, by all means, I can sure use help. If not, I understand it's not really your place. But like I said, I think you still need a heads up, regardless, that there are people out there, officers, that are not respecting what you guys are working so hard to accomplish, which is the boundaries. And they're saying that they can go here or do that, and basically have no recourse or no negative consequences for it. And I think it's a very big thing if someone doesn't go to their patrol vehicle and get a map, and they start thinking otherwise and stuff. So, bad news bears. Thanks, Tim. Long time no talk. I'm sorry for the trouble. I really don't like being this.
I'll keep my ears
This
open.
kind of big. Yeah, exactly. Just a heads up. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the trouble. Take care.